Welcome to another Teching 101 tier list. Tier list. Monday. Coffee. Okay, I'm good. Just sit tight for a moment. Damn it, coffee. Man, that's some strong coffee right there. Holy shit. I'm not dead. I'm all right. Okay. So, welcome everyone. Most of the chat probably didn't see that. Yeah, you'll catch that in the VOD though. All right. Hello everyone. Welcome. Today we're going to be ranking One Piece movie villains. Oh, Calais for this one. All right. I'll be all right. I'll be okay. I'll be all right. Why are you dying? Oh, you know, just drinking that really strong coffee. Man, I laced it with jet fuel. You gotta really wake up in the morning, you know what I mean? Okay. So today we're gonna be looking at the One Piece movie villains. Right, there are currently 15 One Piece movies. I believe Film Red was the 15th. A lot of these movies, maybe a lot of people have not seen. A lot of them have not even been dubbed in English or like internationally. Up till movie 7, I think none of them are English up till movie 7, and then movie 8 is the Alabasta one, which is English, and then that was the first one released by Funimation, and then all the other ones... No, actually, no. Movie 9, I think, was also not done in English, but after everything from movie 10 onward, so from Strong World onward, you're probably more familiar with. I went ahead and I organized all of these by the order of the movies they appear in, so the first movie, and then going all the way to the very end where you see Uta. By the way, some people might question that. There's a couple of characters on this list that you could argue are, like, not villains. Like, you could argue, like, is Uta really the villain in Film Red? Even, like, Saga right here from the 5th movie, Curse of the Holy Sword, is like, Saga's not really the villain. It's like, well... I needed a decent number of characters on this list, so I included pretty much everybody. And also the idea that, like, going into it, yeah, you do learn, like, by the end of the movie that Saga's not really the villain and that there's other stuff going on with Uta. But kind of, like, the implication going into it is, like, yeah, Uta kind of is the villain. Her actions are villainous. That doesn't mean she's evil, but she does do some shit, and there's good reasons why she does it. And we'll get to Uta when we get to Uta, because she's going to be at the very end. But, like, yeah, I pretty much just included everybody. Not counting Burn D World. No, because Burn D World was from an OVA, and that is from a different kind of thing. So we're not doing OVAs today. We might do another tier list at another point where we cover all the OVAs, episode ofs, and One Piece 3D2Y, episode of Luffy, episode of Sabo, episode of whatever. We might do another one of those. But that is not what we're doing today. Okay, and also, I also thought about including the movie tie-ins as well, because, like, Film Z and Film Gold had, like, movie tie-ins for, like, Bill, and remember Bill and the Silver Mine and everything like that, but now I decided just to keep it all to the movies, and we have a decent number of characters just including those, so we're good with that. I'll just keep them here. I'd say more antagonist than a villain. You know... Her actions are definitely, like, can definitely be viewed as villainous, but the reasons why she does it are, I guess the best way to describe it is just because you're a villain does not mean you're necessarily, like, categorically evil, you know? 3D2Y is a TV special. Filler villains, yeah, that's another thing too. Like, a lot of people are probably thinking about, like, Breed from the one filler arc after Dressrosa, and, like, Don Acino after the Ice Hunter arc after Enies Lobby and everything like that. I think those are enough characters from the fillers and the movie tie-ins and the OVAs to be, like, its own separate thing. So we'll be doing that. Just because you're a bad guy doesn't mean you're a bad guy. Yeah. Yeah, there you go, I guess. Just because Uta tried to trap the entire world in a music realm of her own devices and have them trapped in her little dimension forever. I mean, she was doing it for good intentions, right? I mean, yeah. World peace to everyone. Spread the love. Yeah, Ralph. Yeah, we all remember Ralph. Wreck-It Ralph, he was in it. Crocodile is a movie villain? He sure as shit is, and we'll be getting to him when we get to him. But anyway, we have the tiers here. We have 6 of them. We have at the very top, I put actually canon, which I feel is the highest tier for any movie character ever, because once a movie character is actually canon character, that is the greatest achievement you could possibly make, where you have transcended the bounds and you've broken into the main canon of the story, all right? So that is obviously top tier because you're in the actual manga of One Piece, and Oda is the one drawing you and actually writing for you at that point. So then we have the next category down, which is should be canon, as in a character that is so good in these movies, you kind of wish they were in the One Piece story, or they would fit right in the manga itself. Like, you could see them being the center of a story arc as a mainline villain in the story, and you'd be perfectly fine with that. I think that's a pretty good one. And then we have solid movie villains. So at this point, it's like, all right, this character does not need to be in the main story of One Piece, but for a villain in a movie, which is like its own isolated thing, they did a really good job. I mean, maybe we don't need to see any more of this character, but they did an okay job in their own movie. They left an impression on the audience, like, good villain. All right. Then we have perfectly bland, and this is just what it is. It's like, yep, you can tell with a lot of these characters that we're going to be getting to that not a lot of thought went into backstory or anything. It was pretty much just like, we need some characters for the Straw Hats to beat the shit out of, so let's do some funny designs, or rather, that's all they are. It's like, here's the design of the character. What's their personality? They don't have one. They're a movie character. They don't need to have one. Here you go. All right, there it is. Then we have horrible movie villain. Now, I should clarify with this. Horrible movie villain. So Bullet. Okay, well, we'll get to Bullet, ladies and gentlemen. Bullet is all the way down here in movie 14. We got a while till we got to get to Bullet. We got to get through the Trump siblings before we get to Bullet. And don't even get me started on Baron Omatsuri and his crazy-ass island. All right, we got a lot of stuff to go through before we get to Douglas Bullet, all right? So, anyway, what is it? Horrible movie villain. So, obviously, if you're a villain and doing horrible things, that's not what I'm talking about. But what I am talking about here is just your motivation for being a villain, or the writing for this villain is just dog shit. It is just not good. Yes, I want the Straw Hats to kick their ass because they're a villain, sure, but there's plenty of villains in One Piece that you could kind of all right, I kind of get their perspective on things, but there's villains in these movies sometimes, man, that are just like, why is this guy doing this? Why is this happening? I mean, it makes you even wonder, why are the Straw Hats even here dealing with this bullshit? It's like, yeah, hurry up, Luffy, hurry up and kick this guy's ass so we can move on with the plot already. I'm embarrassed that the Straw Hats even have to deal with this guy. That is horrible movie villain, Then we finally have completely forgettable, which may in fact be the most filled out tier out of all of this. And there is nothing going on here. Even if you could say that, all right, characters' design might be okay, and all right, I guess, but then there are characters that I mean, there's a few of them. As I was making this list, as I was making sure to remember everybody, and I have a list in front of me because I had to write down some of their names, that I did not remember their names. I didn't remember anything about them. I couldn't tell you any relevance they had in the movie other than just to pad it out longer. Okay, that was like, oh, we need somebody for Sanji to fight. Okay, here's a character for Sanji to fight. What's their character? Oh, they don't have one. You're lucky they even have a name. Here you go. Sanji fights them. Sanji wins. Okay, that is. All right. So, yeah. So let's get into this. I don't think this is going to take as long as the other ones, but yeah, let's get moving on this. All right. We're starting off with the first One Piece movie. It does not have a name. It's just One Piece, the movie. The first 3 One Piece movies were played at like Spring Fest or something, and they're all relatively short. They're all less than an hour long. They actually double featured with Digimon movies. So like one of the first Digimon movies played with the first One Piece movie, and they were kind of like together for the first 3 years. The first feature-length One Piece movie wasn't until Deadend Adventure, all the way down here with Gasparde. So this first row all the way up to Gasparde are all like relatively minor villains. They weren't really that involved in their movies even. So we have El Drago. Good old El Drago, ladies and gentlemen. So El Drago's thing is he's a big like lion dude, and he has a devil fruit called the shout fruit. I think it's the Gao fruit. And he literally just fires ki blasts from his mouth. That's his power. It's actually very similar to Howling Gab's ability that we see all the way in Film Red. Howling Gab is one of Shanks's men, and like a top-ranking officer on the Red-Haired Pirates, and it's a very similar ability, which actually, I should do a video on this, where Oda just takes movie character devil fruits and just gives them to Shanks's crew. Because the idea of a devil fruit that lets you shoot laser, I'm firing my laser, boom! You know, like firing an energy death laser from your mouth, that's not a bad ability. That's about as anime as you could get right there. So, I mean, for a first level One Piece villain, like firing a ki blast from your mouth, that like Nappa or some shit, I'm alright with that, you know, so it kind of gets points for me right there. Let's see, so then we also have, he has like a gold fetish. Like, seriously, like, his thing in the movie is he loves gold, but he, like, really loves gold. Like, you could say whatever you want about Nami. I don't think she has a gold fetish. I mean, maybe she does. I don't know. But El Drago's literally all decked out. He has, like, gold nails and gold jewelry and gold armor, and he's, like, rubbing up against the gold in the movie. He's like, oh, gold, look at all the gold. Dude, Gil Tesoro is down here. Gil Tesoro, the man that literally has the gold devil fruit, is not as in love with gold as El Drago is. Like, Drago, I will break you. Yeah. So, he's Goldmaker. Is that a character? I don't know. Goldmember did it better. Okay, Goldmember did it better. That is true. I love gold! So he's Scrooge McDuck. I don't know. Did Scrooge McDuck ever try to, like, seduce the gold? I don't know. I'm honestly gonna put him in, like, I'm kind of honestly putting him in solid movie villain. Like, I don't want him to have his own, he shouldn't be canon. But, like, he left an impression. I remember who he is. He had a cool devil fruit that shoots an energy laser, and he had a gold fetish, so they gave him something of a personality. The final battle with him and Luffy wasn't that interesting. Luffy just Gamu no bazookas him pretty much, and that takes him out. He does do, like, a kind of, like, he does kind of, like, do this big, giant sound, like Genki Dama thing at the end of the fight, where, like, this giant ball of sound is about to crash down, like a big, like it's a ki attack. He's kind of like a Dragon Ball Z villain, honestly, which makes sense. I mean, this was coming out in the 90s. Yeah, I feel like he's a literal. Yeah, I mean, like, we might move him up or down, but, like, as for a movie villain, and also, the first 3 movies are going to have a little bit of a handicap because they are all relatively short. Now, if El Drago was around for an hour and a half or like a 2-hour extravaganza, I would probably be done with him. He would probably be like maybe down here. But the fact he's only around for like a 50-minute movie, and he's not even in the whole 50 minutes. I mean, the whole movie's not about him. It's still very much about the Straw Hats gets front and center. And also there's a little kid named Tobio that's like running around with the Straw Hats. The first 3 movies, like there's these little kids hanging out with the Straw Hats, and it's like kind of annoying. But yeah, you know what? I'll put El Drago as a solid movie villain. Sure, why not? All right, next up, we're going to rank these next 3 guys all at once because these, I know you guys know who these guys are. You all know about these 3 characters, right? Yeah, absolutely. They are the Hyena 3. We have Danny, then we have Denny, then we have Donnie. Danny, Denny, and Donnie, okay? And they are basically the low-ranking henchmen under El Drago. These are the best guys he could hire. And they show up in the second movie, too, working for the Trump siblings. and then they just disappear after that. So I guess they were like, maybe like they're brothers that are like mercenaries or like hiring themselves out to movie villains, because they worked for 2 movie villains, and then after that, I think they skipped town. I think after that, they were done there. Oh, hi, Denny. Yeah. Now, to give you an idea here, hold on. Let me pull up something really quick. Let me pull up, because I've done movie reviews for the first 6 movies. Not the 7th one yet, but maybe we'll get to the 7th movie someday, guys. I don't know when we'll get there. But as for the Hyena 3, they are right here. Okay? So, it's like, I like their outfits. I mean, the first one, Danny's outfit is just like a vest, but Denny is wearing this really cool, like, tuxedo shirt looking thing. And then you have, no, that's Donnie with the tuxedo shirt, and then Denny is wearing, like, a 1970s cowboy Elvis kind of thing going on over there. You know, like, in terms of just outfits, like, I remember their funny outfits from this movie more than anything, honestly. You know, the Elvis cosplayer dude, that would be Denny. That's Denny. So do we rank them higher for fashion choices? I'm putting Danny in completely forgettable, because his outfit wasn't even unique. His outfit was just a regular ass outfit. Like, he just put on a vest and a t-shirt. It's like, whatever. Okay, Denny is an Elvis cosplayer. So I'm going to rank him up in maybe perfectly bland. Okay, I can at least remember Denny being the Elvis cosplayer guy. Are they like the Three Stooges? Not really. I mean, they're just kind of there. They try to rob the Straw Hats in the first scene of the movie, and they shoot Luffy in the face with a gun. Like they literally pull out a pistol and just shoot him point blank. So they're kind of merciless in that regard. Now, it doesn't affect Luffy, and Luffy gets pissed for getting shot. But they were pretty much just like, it's like, oh shit, boom, and then they shot Luffy right in the face. You know, so yeah, I'll put him up there. And you know what? I'll also put Donnie next to Perfectly Bland, just because he's wearing like the tuxedo shirt. I remember the tuxedo shirt. Okay. Yeah, tuxedo guy gives me no more character vibes. Yeah, didn't they go to Denny's? Yeah, that was at the end of that movie, they all go to Denny's. That is actually what happens. All right, who's next? Oh, Glass. All right, so this character, probably the most problematic, I would say, in terms of character design. He is a very stereotypical Native American design, and he's kind of got the Mr. Popo lips thing going on there. He is a hired mercenary that El Drago employs, and the only thing I mostly remember him just being a really bad Native American stereotype in the way they're kind of depicting him. He doesn't really have much of a personality. He takes a big sword and he cuts a hill. So I at least remember his character, I guess. Like, he at least left an impression. At least oh yeah, he took a big sword and he cut a mountain in half. He was there so Zoro had somebody to fight. That was basically his character. He had a thing with Zoro. Yeah, he fought Zoro. Yeah. And, you know, because in that movie, you know, Luffy fights against El Drago. We need Zoro to fight somebody. I don't think Sanji wasn't even a member of the Straw Hats yet. Like, the first movie takes place right before Baratie. It takes place right after, I guess in the canon of the anime, it would take place right after the Island of Rare Animals. In the manga, it goes Island of Rare Animals, then Syrup Village, then Baratie. Yeah, I guess it kind of is, the whole Zoro thing. It's Geronimo. I mean, yeah, I don't know what they were going for. I remember him at least, so I'll put him in Perfectly Bland. Okay, there you go. All right, next up, we got the second movie now. One Piece, Movie 2, Clockwork Island Adventure with the Trump siblings. That name takes on whole new connotations now in 2024. Okay. So first off, we got Bear King. Okay. Bear King is the main villain of the movie, I guess. I mean, they all get fairly... I'll give this to Movie 2. All 5 of the Trump siblings get a fair amount of screen time. It's not like Bear King... Honestly, Bear King, I think, gets the least. Like, he's the strongest out of all of them. He fights against Luffy. He has the... he has, I think it's called the gotcha no mi or something, the gocha no mi. It makes his body like hard. He can like harden his body, which also means he can heat it up. He has heat-based abilities too. So it's like banging rocks together is the idea. Like maybe so like friction or like banging rocks together like flint makes sparks or something. I don't really know what the whole point of his power is, but he has really strong, hard punches that light on fire. It's that kind of thing, right? And he kidnaps Nami and tries to marry her. And his whole thing is he took over this island so he could build a cannon to become king of the pirates. Because it's like, if I just have a big enough cannon, I can rule the Grand Line. It's like, yeah, so he's a pretty big dumbass. He has no motivation. He's very forgettable. I think putting him in horrible movie villain is fair. I remember him. He's not forgettable, but like, in terms of, he has no backstory. There's nothing to this character. It's, I'm a big tough guy, and I want to marry Nami, and I'm going to build a cannon, and I'm going to be king of the pirates. I'm like, all right, buddy, you can try your best at all of those things. Nami would destroy you, by the way, and she kind of does. Actually, Nami takes down a Logia in this movie, who is actually the next character. When he sees Kaido, oh shit. Oh yeah, Kaido is gonna file an injunction against him big time. They are going to court when they figure out what's going on there. So he can harden himself, eh? Wonders if he uses that to harden his... Oh, he probably does, yeah. That's why he had that fruit. So he's the first to start the trend of the movie filler villains having fire powers. Fire or heat abilities. There's a lot of characters in One Piece that have, though, until we finally get to Oven. Like Ace, and then Akainu, and then Oven. Yeah. Hey, it's Thumbnail Girl. Not yet. Well, the thumbnail of this one is actually Baccarat, but Honey Queen is the thumbnail of my filler fruit video, yes. So Honey Queen... she's the first filler Logia. In fact, there is another Logia on this list. Gasparde is a Logia. I think those are the only two that are actually filler villains that are Logias. Crocodile doesn't count because he's an actual character in the manga. So yeah, Honey Queen and Gasparde I think are the only ones that are Logias. Okay, so Honey Queen. All right, so let me pull her up here. I mean, she's got sex appeal, she's got sex appeal. We literally are introduced to her naked in a bathtub floating in the sky. So that's a thing. And she does have a pretty cool outfit later on. This is her outfit. She has kind of like a Harley Quinn thing going on there. Yeah, and her devil fruit it's never really explained what kind of substance it is. It's like jelly, but I think the term is not really jelly. I think it's like the liquid fruit she has, but the substance she turns into is kind of like jelly, but it's more liquidy than jelly. I'm not really sure. It's just some kind of liquid that she could turn into. Her clothes don't transform for certain reasons. Yes, for certain reasons. Well, this was before they figured out the whole Logia thing. Actually, in the canon of the One Piece story, I think this takes place right before Logtown, or maybe right after? She might predate Smoker in terms of the first Logia. Maybe not from the manga's perspective, but from the anime, she might. Could Kuma have known Bonnie was in danger because S-Bear heard Lucci? I mean, maybe there is some kind of connection, but I think it's just Kuma, fatherly instincts and everything. Kome, isn't Kome from an OVA? Yeah. So Smoothie's devil fruit, but a Logia. Yeah, kinda. Basically that. Yeah, it's an unnamed filler. It's an unnamed fluid fruit. She's the fluid girl. Like, oh god. But the thing is, she is damn sexy. She is sexy. And, looking at a lot of these movie villains, we do not have a lot of sexy women on this list. I can honestly only point to 3. So that's got to give her some points, right? Like, even in terms of women in general, I think there's... Oh, wait, no, I forgot about Ain. So we have 4. Are there seriously only 4 women on this entire list? Honey Queen, and then we have Baccarat, Ain, and then Uta. Wow, we only have 4. Okay, 4 women movie villains. Okay, wow. Okay, yeah. So, yeah, unnamed fluids. Yeah, indeed. So, should be canon? I mean, I wouldn't complain if Honey Queen was a canon One Piece villain. I certainly wouldn't complain by that. Let's see here. Are the One Piece movies any good? Oh, some of them are certainly good. Yeah, some of them are. They're not all complete. No, some of them skip. There's 15 of them. They're not all good, but like there's some that are really solid. The most recent ones are probably the best ones because they have a higher budget and everything like that. I'll tell you what. She is the most memorable villain from the movie. Even more memorable than Bear King, who was like the main boss of that movie. I'm keeping her in there because honestly, like the idea of like a fluid Logia or like a water-based devil fruit has not really been super explored in the main story. Like, the movie characters actually do that a lot. Gasparde also has, like, a kind of liquid, candy, fluid devil fruit, right? So, in terms of the abilities she has, and just the sex appeal, I would like to see her in the manga. Yeah, sure, let's go with that, sure. Then we have, Bojack. Yay. Bojack is big fat guy that has spikes covering his body. He does have a scene where, like, Sanji goes to kick him, and then Sanji, you actually see the shot of, I have it right here, actually. It actually is rather painful, of Sanji kicking this dude, and spikes going, like, right through his feet. Where is that at here? Right, yeah, it's, like, right here. Like, you see it kind of, like, hitting his feet, and it goes, like, right through. Oh, God, look at that. Look at that. That goes right through Sanji's fucking foot. Oh, right through. Oh, man, that looks painful. Yeah. So, yeah, Bojack. Yeah. And there's a scene with Honey Queen that also, I remember where she's like, that's my Bojack. Yeah, there we go. So, oh, by the way, you're getting it? Bear King, Honey Queen, Bojack. Are you getting the naming scheme yet? He's not a good villain. He's pretty boring. His thing is kind of stupid. Next up is, okay, I kind of like Pin Joker. Pin Joker actually has a cool design. He actually has a backstory. They actually gave this son of a bitch an actual backstory. They didn't give Bear King or Bojack or Honey Queen even a backstory. They gave this dude a backstory. He fought against Zoro one time. That's his backstory. He fought against Zoro. Zoro actually gave him that scar over his face back when Zoro was a bounty hunter, and then he recovered, and then he went to go join the Trump siblings, and now he has, like, a revenge plot against Zoro. You know what? Honestly, out of all of them, I'll give him a solid, because he's, like, one of the ones I actually remember the most. He's like a guy that he was a pirate, and he was attacked by Zoro, and he got cut down, but he lived. He fucking lived. So at least he survived fighting Zoro. I mean, Zoro completely forgot about the guy, but, like, he survived getting slashed in the face by Zoro, and he decided to, like, okay, I'm gonna go get revenge out for him. He has a cool looking design. His thing is he always, like, messes up his puns. You know, like, you know how in, like, Back to the Future where Biff is always messing up the puns or the sayings and stuff? That's about as funny as a screen door on a battleship. And it's like, it's a screen door on a submarine, you freaking dolt. It's like, that's kind of his thing. That's kind of his shtick. But yeah. He's like a movie Mr. Seven. He kind of is. No, he's better than Mr. Seven because Mr. Seven was killed by Zoro. This guy actually survived. So, all right. Yeah, he should be canon, honestly. You know what? No, I'm not. Okay. I don't love Pin Joker that much. I'm gonna dial that back a bit. I don't want you to think I like Pin Joker that much. But, like, also, he is facing a double conjunction or injunction or cease and desist order, because you have Kaido getting involved and you also have Doflamingo. Doflamingo's going to file suit with this guy specifically for taking the Joker moniker, and oh my god, you do not want to go to court with Doflamingo. Doflamingo's going to show up to court wearing a feathered boa and he's going to wreck your shit. Who would be Doflamingo's lawyer? Treble, Diamante, Virgo? Virgo could be the lawyer. I could see Virgo being a lawyer. Yeah. Treble would just... No, Treble's not the lawyer. Yeah, surviving against even pre-time skip Zoro. I mean, it's something. They gave him something to work with here. And I think he's the only one that's Pika. Pika as the lawyer would be great. Yes. Your Honor, my client is being infringed on the use of Joker. He clearly understood that there's only one Joker allowed in this world, and he, knowing this, he went ahead and called him that. And my client is seeking... It hurts me that I can do Pika's voice so well. Oh, man, I should have been a soprano. There you go. Oh, man. Monet would have been a good lawyer, too. Monet would have been pretty good, yeah. Not the Pika voice. I should have reviewed... I wish I would have reviewed One Piece Weekly during Dressrosa, because I could do a halfway decent Pika voice. And Pika hasn't even showed up since then. There was no reason for me to do the Pika voice up until now. Have I ever done a video on Pika? I should do a video on Pika and do the whole damn video speaking like that. Yeah. Okay, can we all agree Pika's little gimmick, the joke with Pika is... Yeah, it is one of the best things in One Piece. One of the best little laughs. It's so funny that dude sounds like that. It's so simple, too. It's just like, big, strong, tough guy talks like this. It's not even an original thing. It's been done before in other media. Big, giant, muscular dude, but has a really high-pitched voice. But it's so funny. All right. Sugar is Dofi's lawyer. That would be funny, because Sugar can just walk in and turn the entire court into toys. She just turns the entire jury into toys and has them all side in Dofi's favor. Your Honor, we side with Doflamingo. Oh, my God. Okay, Skunk One sucks. Skunk One is disgusting. Skunk One is this dude with a big nose, and he has this stupid jetpack that, like, spits, like, fart gas everywhere. He's like, he's like a freaking bad Batman villain. I don't know, man. He just spits out this fucking, like, nauseous gas everywhere, and people choke on it and be like, he sucks. He's like a rat. He's like, yeah, he shoots out sewer poop gas everywhere. I hated that. Like any character that revolves around shooting like fart gas at people is like, no, not for me. Not for me. Oh, man. He's like a diet Dr. Doofenshmirtz. Yeah, he is not as charismatic as Dr. Doofenshmirtz. Doofenshmirtz had an arc, damn it. Skunk One does not have a fucking arc, all right? All right, what's next? And, okay, so that's movie 2. We have all of movie 1 and 2. There we go. Honey Queen is at the top right now, and then we have El Drago, and then Pin Joker coming up from behind with a solid movie villain role. I'm actually okay with this so far. I'm pretty okay with this. All of the tiers are actually filled out. Well, canon will be filled out, definitely, because there's obviously characters that are canon, so I don't think I'll have to remove any of these tiers this time. I think this is actually sitting pretty good. This might be my best tier list yet. All right, so next up, we have the villain from the One Piece Movie 3, Chopper's Island of Mystical Rare Animals. Hey guys, do you remember that Island of Rare Animals episode with Gaimon? How would you like it if Chopper was involved? There you go. So we have 3 villains here. I don't even think they're pirates. I think they're just poachers. And then we have the main guy right here. His name it's Battler. Like he's battling, Battler, Battler. But in Japanese, it sounds like Butler, you know? So it just sounds like his name is Butler. He kind of resembles Gecko Moria before Gecko Moria. And he's just a top shelf piece of garbage. like honestly, like his whole thing is like, there's this mystical horn on the island, or this lion tooth, or no, I think it's a horn. And he wants to eat this horn and gain powers or something. He eats horns. He literally hunts extinct or rare animals to extinction takes these, there's a scene in the movie, let me see if I have it. There's a scene in the movie where he's eating animal horns, like a picture a poacher ripping a horn off of a rhino. That's already bad enough. But then this son of a bitch right here takes it, slathers the rhino horn in mustard and ketchup, and then just eats it whole. Just eats the damn thing. He just eating these animals, putting them to extinction to just satisfy his hunger. So, yeah, this guy's going in a horrible movie villain role. This guy is like he's a piece of shit. He hurts animals, goes in horrible. He's awful. He's even worse than other ones. He's not even like a pirate wanting to be king of the pirates. He's just a poacher out to destroy animals and wipe out the island. At the end of the movie, he does get the rare horn, and he turns into like this werebeast kind of form at the end. Like, he turns into this fucking thing for some reason. I don't know. He doesn't really have a devil fruit. I don't know what to even explain. He turns into this thing. And then Luffy punches him really hard. And then he dies. And then he turns into this thing. Then he turns into this. He turns into this thing, which is, I guess, his true form. And then Luffy punches him again. And then that knocks him away. And then we have this creepy scene with Chopper here. Stare into the eyes of the abyss, ladies and gentlemen. Stare into Tony Chopper's unwavering soul. He will devour you, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, this guy's a piece of crap, though. Bro, what the hell? What are you doing? Don't pull that up. Don't pull up Demon Chopper. What is that thing? Yeah, you want to see Chopper's awakening? That's Chopper's awakening right here. Chopper just turns into this. Hi, guys. I'm gonna be the greatest doctor it ever was. This is Chopper if he's like 7 edibles deep, dude. This is Chopper high as fuck. This movie's not that great, but like, okay. All right. Okay. What's next? Okay. So Butler has two henchmen, Hebby and Hot Dog. This guy's named Hebby and this guy's Hot Dog. Hot Dog's like this old guy with jowls for days. Okay. And his name is literally just Hot Dog. Now, I don't remember I didn't remember their names. I had to look up their names, but I do remember the fights that they had, but not because of them being unique characters. It's actually a very interesting fight between them and Zoro and Sanji, because obviously there's 3 villains in the movie. Luffy and Chopper kind of take care of Butler. I mean, Luffy has the final attack against Butler, but Hebby and Hot Dog fight against Zoro and Sanji. However, the cool thing about this fight that I actually like is Hebby is the swordsman, and he fights Sanji, and Hot Dog is the melee fighter, and he fights Zoro. And at the end of their fights, like, Sanji and Zoro are fighting in like different locations, so they're not next to each other, but the way they defeat the villains, like Sanji defeats the swordsman and says, I know a guy who has a way better sword skills than you do. And then Zoro defeats the melee fighter who kicks things, and Zoro is like, I know a son of a gun that's kicks stronger than you ever could. You know, so they kind of complement each other as they defeat their enemies. It's actually a kind of a cool scene, but it has nothing to do with these characters. These characters are completely forgettable. But their fight is interesting just because of Zoro and Sanji kind of complimenting each other at the end of the fight without even knowing it. That's actually kind of really cool. I kind of like that they did that. They could have just had Zoro fight the swordsman, Sanji fight the kicking guy, and then just call it a day. But they did twist it up there. I did enjoy that, yeah. Yeah, they have a little bit of a bromance there, yeah. Yeah, I think people overblow the rivalry that Zoro and Sanji has. Like, they don't hate each other. They're like bickering brothers, basically. They care about one another and would risk their lives for one another. I actually really love the scene in Wano when Sanji calls Zoro up to tell him, hey, if at the end of this fight I'm like really evil, make sure to end it because I don't want to live after that. And Zoro, like, he like literally calls Zoro in the middle of a fight with King and tells him to do this. So that shows like a level of like, I trust you to be the one to take care of this. Like, Sanji was literally calling Zoro to tell him, hey, end my life if shit goes bad. And Zoro's like, you got it, bro. You know, and I'm sure Zoro might do the same thing for Sanji. Yeah. So next up, that's movie 3. Not a great entry in the series. They're all pretty bottom tier. But now we have movie 4, Deadend Adventure. And we do not have a lot of villains in movie 4. It's the first full-length One Piece movie at an hour and a half, so like a standard 90-minute runtime. And then we have Gasparde, who is a former Marine. I don't think we ever get his name, like his rank. It's General. There's no General in the Marines, but his epithet is like General Gasparde. And his ship is, he's kind of like a proto-Drake a little bit. He has a Marine ship that he has just like the X over the Marine symbol. Hold on a second. I have images of the movies because I reviewed up until the 6th movie, and then after that I don't have them anymore. But oh yeah, here's his ship right here. Here's Gasparde's ship. So he just takes a big X right over the Marine sigil. So okay, they're giving him something there. And, oh, by the way, he's basically, so at this point in the movies, we also basically have the movie, and a lot of animes do this, like the Dragon Ball movies do this too. The movie villains are basically the diet versions of canon villains. Gasparde is basically Crocodile. He has a Logia. He's a very arrogant guy that kind of kicks Luffy's ass the first time they fight, and then Luffy has to come back and beat him later. Needless, who is his right-hand man, is kind of like Mr. One. He has like spikes that he uses to fight, like bladed weaponry. So they're basically, Gasparde and Needless are basically Crocodile and Daz Bones. So that's that. But, yeah, Gasparde, oh, dude, remember Shuraya? Shuraya from this movie was really good. Yeah, I need to do I consider doing not necessarily all villains, but all movie characters, but I think there would have been too many for this, so I just kept it the villains in this one, but I need to do, like, other characters, because Shuraya was basically proto-Sabo, and he was a really cool character. But, yeah, let me get a good image of Gasparde here. Gasparde. Where's he at? He is down here. Yeah, so Gasparde has this candy devil fruit that allows him to turn into a candy ooze. This is right after Shuraya slices his head with a shovel. Because Shuraya's main weapon in this movie is a shovel. I love it. Like, Sabo uses a pipe, this guy uses a shovel. Just hockey up that shovel and you're good for days. But yeah, it's a syrup fruit. It's like a candy syrup kind of thing. Luffy literally beats him. Like literally Luffy gets his ass kicked by him. Like, Luffy can't really figure out how to beat him. And then he's like running up steps as Sanji's coming up the steps, and he has like a bag of flour. And Sanji just gives Luffy the like, hey, you need this to beat the main villain. All right, later, bye. And then Sanji just leaves, and then Luffy's like, okay. And then Luffy throws flour over him, and because the flour is making the syrup stick, then Luffy can pummel him and he can win the day. So they're on the right track here with Gasparde. They're on the right track. They gave him something of a backstory, but not really much. He's like, yeah, I was part of the Marines, and they were fucked up, so I left, and now I'm a pirate. Okay. And then, like, that's kind of all we get. Like, it's all right. Okay, it's a backstory. You gave him a backstory, so that's something. It's like a one-sentence backstory, but you gave him a backstory. Let's see here. Yeah, his devil fruit basically became Perospheros later. The candy fruit, except it was a Logia. Yeah. I don't want to say he's bland. He ranks better than... See, here's the thing, though. El Drago, I actually remember more because he had the gold fetish thing, which was like a weird, quirky thing with his character. It was so weird, but it was memorable, at least. Gasparde doesn't really have any quirks like that. It's just he's a big, tough, angry, arrogant guy. He's like all of the most bland aspects of Crocodile. Like, picture Crocodile with no charisma. Take Crocodile's character, suck all the charisma out of him, and then you get Gasparde, basically. So, I honestly think he might be a bland villain here. I'll put him at the top of bland. He's not horrible, but he's really got nothing going on him. Yeah, the race scene in the movie was fun, because the whole point of Deadend Adventure is, like, there's this big pirate race, and at the beginning of the movie, they go into this really cool, it's one of my favorite scenes in the One Piece movies, where they're going into this secret pirate hideout, and it's animated really cool. Like, look at this place. Like, they go in this, like, bar, and then there's a secret door in the bar, and they walk through the secret door, and they open this up to, like, the pirate mall, like, pirate hangout paradise. Like, it's this giant underground cave that's lit up with all these lights, and there's all these bars and shops, and it just goes up, and then there's, like, giants at the very bottom, and there's this big chain to get your ships in there, and that's really fucking cool. Yeah, it's a really neat little scene here. I like it. Yeah. So, it's a fun little moment there. Like, it's a very Miyazaki-esque thing. Like, you could kind of picture this kind of thing here, like in a Miyazaki movie. It was a cool setting for sure. Absolutely. They don't spend the whole movie there, unfortunately. It's not the centerpiece of the movie, but it was cool. All right, so who's next? We got Needless. Needless is not Needles. I kept thinking his name was just Needles because he fights with, like, needles for the longest time, but his name is Needless. And I think I actually have his, like, he has a wanted poster. A lot of movie villains get wanted posters later on. Dude, where even is this guy? Man, this guy does not leave much of an impression in this freaking movie, I'll tell you what. Oh, man, where is this guy? He fights against Shuraya. And, oh, here he is. He's, like, in the background here next to Luffy. He fights against Luffy. Oh, no, this is actually, I think this is the scene at the bar when they first meet. So, he's basically, once again, take Daz's bones, take away the devil fruit. He just fights with, like claws, I think. Like, he has, like Wolverine claws he fights with, kind of thing. Yeah. Needless of Needles. Yeah. He was not that interesting. Completely forgettable. Yeah, he was pretty forgettable. I'll put him at the top of forgettable. Gasparde and Needless both are at the top of perfectly bland and perfectly forgettable. There you go. Yeah. Okay. So that was movie 4. Not really a lot of stuff going on with movie 4. Okay, movie 5. Now, like I said, Saga does not turn out to be the main villain. It's like something else that's possessing Saga, so I actually put the sword on here too. But let's just talk about Saga, the character, okay? So Saga there's a bit of an addition to Zoro's backstory here, where Saga trained at the same dojo at Shimosuke Village that Zoro did. He basically replaces Kuina. Like, they go through this is supposed to be Zoro's movie, by the way. Like, this movie is, like, look at the poster of this shit. Hold on, let me show you the poster of movie 5. All right, poster of movie 5. Well, actually, first we have a thing that Oda drew for it. Like, look at that. Like, that's some promo stuff that Oda drew. So we got Luffy, we got Zoro right there, and then we got this guy down there that has this sword. He's like a cool-looking guy. He's got silver hair. You know, and then we have the two other characters, Maya and her grandmother, I forget her name. This was during Skypiea, so the characters kind of resemble, like, the Skypians, the Shandorians at least, kind of resembled, like, the Native Americans, like the First Nations people, and the characters in this movie are based off of, like, more Central America, like the Mayans. Her name is literally Maya in the movie. So, like, Zoro is supposed to, like, it's called the Curse of the Holy Sword. And so you'd assume Zoro would be pretty prominent here, right? Like, here's another poster for the movie. Like, you got Luffy dead center because he's, you know, the main character. But then you have Zoro and Saga back there. So, like, this is like Zoro's kind of movie. Like, this is the idea, right? So Zoro's backstory is shifted so that Saga is there instead of Kuina. Kuina, I don't even know, is mentioned in the movie. Like, you could have done a thing where Saga and Zoro and Kuina were, like, training together at Shimosuke. And then Kuina died, and then Saga decided, I'm going to go be a Marine, and then Zoro decided, I'm going to go be a bounty hunter, and then they went separate ways. And then there's another scene where his arm is, his arm is, like, damaged, and he's, like, crippled by that in the movie. And he's on this island trying to protect the people there, and then he opens up the Holy Sword, and he touches it, and the Holy Sword, like, possesses him. and he turns evil. And it's very clear in like the first shot of the movie that the sword is the thing that made him evil. But when the hell else am I going to have Saga on a list here? So I figured might as well talk about him. Yeah. King, is that you? I mean, I don't know. Maybe Oda reused the design. So, the sad thing is, Zoro does not do much in this movie. I mean, Zoro does stuff in this movie. He doesn't talk about things very often, though. He doesn't, like, there's a scene in the movie where he wanders off and he basically gets a note that's like, hey, Zoro, it's Saga, come meet me in the temple. Zoro just leaves. He doesn't tell the crew what he's doing. He leaves. He goes and meets Saga. Saga's like, I need you to go down to the village and steal these holy gems from the people down there. Zoro just does it. He doesn't tell the Straw Hats why he's doing this. He fights Sanji briefly and then just goes back for Saga. He doesn't explain anything, and it's like, you're kind of questioning, like, is Zoro possessed by the sword? But he's not. Like, there's a scene where the sword tries to possess him, and he fights it off. Thumbnail brought me in. Yep, that was the idea. We'll just throw that up there right now, by the way. Like, let's just Baccarat for days. Everybody loves Baccarat. Let's just, yeah, there she goes. There she is. Hi, Baccarat. How are you doing? I have even more Baccarat. You wanted more Baccarat, you say? Well, here you are. Here you are right now, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, dear Lord. Baccarat is like... I mean, like, Honey Queen Baccarat. Baccarat is sexiest One Piece villain. Holy shit. From the movies. Oh, my God. All right. Anyway, all right. We'll get to Baccarat eventually. I saved her. She's at the very end. She's one of the last villains. What a woman. I will tell you what. Yeah, okay. That is a lot of Baccarat. Man, I don't even know how to play Baccarat, but I want to learn now. Okay, all right. Anyway, let's go back to Saga. We're not at 13 yet. We're not at Film Gold yet. We will get to Film Gold at some point. We could just skip the other movies and just get to Film Gold. All right. Okay, so Saga, though. So the thing is, though, he spends 99% of this movie possessed by an evil sword, and then the last 1% of the movie, he is freed from the sword. There's really not a lot of... I don't remember there being a reconciliation scene. I don't remember there being a moment with them at the end of the movie where, like, Zoro and Saga sit down and have a good conversation with each other. Like, the last scene of the movie is this. Hold on, let me move this over here. The last scene of the movie is basically, you know how One Piece movies end abruptly. Like there is no epilogue or conclusion to One Piece movies usually. It's Luffy punches the big bad guy in the last fucking 2 minutes, and then end of movie, roll credits. That's how it ends usually. It's a very abrupt ending with most One Piece movies. Even modern ones like Stampede and even Film Red kind of ended like that. So the last scene of the movie is just Saga hanging out with Maya. They were lovers, I guess. I don't even think there's a scene where Zoro and Saga sit down and talk about what happened. It's just kind of that. We get a little bit of a flashback. There's Saga as a little kid, and Zoro gave him a sword. All right. That's cool, I guess. There's also this hippopotamus rhino thing that wants to have sex with the Going Merry throughout the entire movie. That's a weird thing, but I remember that. Oh, I didn't put the hippo rhino thing on the movie. I didn't put this. I didn't put this thing on here. Damn it, why? Completely forgot. Dude, okay, the ending is pretty neat. The ending here is pretty cool where Zoro cuts down Saga, but Saga himself is pretty damn bland. I'll put him there. He does have a backstory. They gave him a backstory, but we just don't know. Like, in the present, he doesn't talk to Zoro or really, like, unpossessed and really explain anything. So, yeah, I'll put him in perfectly bland, honestly. All right, then we have the Marines that are on the island that are possessed by the Holy Sword as well. So first we have Toma. Okay, Toma, let me get these two out of the way first. This is I forgot his name. They're going in Forgettable. Bismarck. This guy is Bismarck. He's going in Forgettable. And this guy is Boo Kong. Not Boo Jack, Boo Kong. We have two One Piece villains that both start with Boo. They're just very forgettable. They have no personalities. They're possessed, and even less of a person. They have negative personality because any minimal personality they might have had is gone because they are literally possessed by a demon sword the entire time. So they're unforgettable. But Toma, though, this guy, Toma, he has a cool design. Dude dresses pretty damn solid, and he has a pretty cool looking sword. He has like this backwards hat, and he's talking to this bird. He like chills out with animals and stuff. And there's a scene in the movie where he's basically like, I still have some of my will left. Like, I was possessed by the sword, but I'm still kind of myself, and I want to duel you, Zoro. And look at this dude's sword. Like the sword, this isn't a great shot of it, but like, you see the guard? The guard looks pretty unique. Like, honestly, this thing looks more of like a demon sword than the actual demon sword is the demon sword. Let me see if I get a better shot of his sword. And that's not a great one, but I like his design. He kind of looks like the seahorse kid. Yeah, he kind of does. He fights Zoro briefly, and then he fights against Nami, I think, at the end. Nami and Chopper, I think, team up to fight him. Dude, where is that guy's sword? Because he has like the coolest looking sword in the entire movie. Was it this one? Yeah, there's another shot of it. It has like a really cool ruby in the pommel too. Like here's a shot of it. Like this sword is way more demon looking than the actual demon sword is. Yeah. So he's got that taiga drip going on. Yeah, he kind of does. I like Toma. I'm gonna put him in solid movie villain. I'll put him above. Yeah, actually, you know what? So far, I'm gonna put him at the top of solid movie villain. Good design, cool looking sword. So in this movie, because Zoro is supposed to be the main character, the dynamic of how the fights end are kind of a little different. So Luffy and Zoro basically take on Saga as he's possessed by the demon sword. Then Toma fights against Nami and Chopper. Then Sanji fights Bismarck with Robin. And then Usopp, or maybe it's Usopp and Robin, fight against Bukong. So all the Straw Hats basically fight in this movie. It's not just Luffy, Zoro, Sanji have a fight. Usopp has a fight. Robin has a fight. This is right after Alabasta, right after kind of like right during Skypiea. So yeah, Robin is there. Yeah, but just for the drip and the sword alone, that's basically why I'm giving him solid movie villain. Yeah, he's all right, I guess. He's okay. He's like, yeah, I've been possessed by an evil sword, but I can still kind of remember what it was like to be me. Zoro, would you like to fight me? I want to fight a really strong swordsman. It's like, okay, all right. Yeah. So, yeah, Usopp doesn't even get to fight. I think he just, oh yeah, that is true. I think Robin just wins that fight instead. Yeah, well, still. So then we have the actual holy sword. So this is the real villain of the fucking movie, is a sword. And the sword is like, there's this cool lore with the sword that's actually explained, where there was like actual gods at one point in One Piece. Like if you take the story that this movie expounds, like the lore that's dropped here, like this is a real deity that exists. And there's, a real god that was, like, corrupted by the sins of man, by the bloodlust of man. And then the sword was a holy sword, and then it turned into an evil sword because of the war that was fought over, like, a woman or something. And Maya, I think, is, like, the descendant of the priestess. It's like a whole thing. But, yeah, there's an actual deity in One Piece, and it's pretty pissed off, apparently, because, yeah, it possesses people. But the thing is, it's a sword. It doesn't communicate. I mean, maybe you could say when Saga is speaking, it's the sword that's speaking, or maybe the sword just speaks to the evil inside of your soul and brings it to the forefront. Is Hatori with him? It's in League. Oh yeah, Hatori was with him. That's true. Yeah. So like Anubis from JoJo. Yeah, but not as good as Anubis. Anubis was cooler than that. Yeah, the sword is a pretty horrible villain. It's a sword. It's an evil sword that possesses you. Okay, there we go. All right, movie 6. Moving on up. We got Baron Omatsuri and his secret island. So, once again, this is another... I just realized back-to-back movies where we find out that the main villain is not really the main villain. The main villain is actually being possessed by an object or a plant in this case. Now, movie 6... is very good. I would recommend, out of the first 7, Baron Omatsuri's Hidden Island is probably the best. The animation's a little different, so just know that going into it. It's a different kind of animation style. It might be a little jarring if you've never seen that style before. It might seem a little bit messy, but it's a really good style, and it's a really good movie. The ending is bleak as hell. It's a very dark kind of climax to this movie. You see some, like... Hold on a minute. Let me pull that up, actually, here. There's a scene where you see these... So Baron Omatsuri is the captain of the Red Arrow Pirates, and they're on this island, and they're luring pirates there under the aspect of it being like a festival, and the Straw Hats follow it, of course. And, you know, there's maybe some Davy Backfight stuff influence there, but, like, there's a scene where Nami is speaking to a member of his crew, and the tone shifts big time, and he begins to, like, shrivel up because it turns out they're all fucking dead. Like, they've been dead for, like, 20 years and are, like, shipwrecked here and are forced to continue to exist because of this Lily incarnation. But they all start to shrivel up because they're, like, because this guy, it's a very creepy scene where this guy's talking to Nami, and he mentions Gold Roger, and... he's like, oh, yeah, we ran into Gold Roger a few months ago. And Nami's like, Gold Roger's been dead for over 20 years. And he's like, that's impossible. We just fought him like a month ago. And then his body just slowly starts to rot. And it's like, oh, my God. All right. The shoe has dropped here. Okay. So Baron Omatsuri is kind of more of like definitely a sympathetic character. Let's see. See, I can remember him, but once again, he's possessed throughout most of it, so I'm thinking about putting him in Perfectly Bland. Then we have Muchigoro, which I'm just going to put in Forgettable. Muchigoro, and then this guy's name is Katetsu. He's like the cook. DJ Gappa is pretty cool. He's DJ Kappa. He's kind of neat, actually. I kind of like this guy. I don't like him enough to make him a solid movie villain, but he's okay. His thing is just he rides around on a skateboard, kind of like Killua, and he throws like discs at you. Like that's his thing. It's like, okay, all right, he's okay, I guess. He's okay. Movie 6 is a hidden gem, yeah. Was he possessed? I feel like he was possessed. I thought he was feeding the flower voluntarily. Maybe he wasn't the one that was possessed and the others were kind of... Because I know, like, Muchigoro and the others did not remember what was going on. They didn't remember what happened. So maybe the Baron wasn't possessed. He was aware of what was going on, but he was like, I can't let my crew die. There's actually some parallels to Brooke here, too, except the Baron takes it to some insane degree, and Brooke kind of works through it. Yeah. He was aware of everything. Okay. You know what? For that reason, I'll put him in solid, then. I'll put him in a solid movie villain tier. The other ones are more forgettable, and... They weren't aware of it. Because I remember there was that scene in the movie where they were like, what's happening to us? Like, Captain, what is this? You know? So just think about that. These guys died like 20 years ago, and their captain is keeping them alive as zombies, but they don't know they're zombies. And occasionally, they lose consciousness and they have to be revived, and the Lily Carnation has to like feed on fresh blood in order to keep them alive and moving. Not really alive, but keep them as zombies. Oh, dude, that is dark. Yeah. So yeah, I'll put him in solid. Then we have the Lily Carnation itself, which is so damn creepy. It's just this little flower, but then it makes this transformation later on. And the animation in this is so creepy. Like, look at this thing. Look at this shit. It's like, help us, Luffy. There's this weird contorted thing with the Straw Hats like stuck in this thing's body, and their life force is being devoured by this plant. And then Luffy's sitting there like, ah! You know? Oh, man. And then Luffy gets hit with a bunch of arrows in one scene. Like this giant hail of arrows is just coming at him. Oh my god, I deleted the tier list. Oh no. I deleted the tier list. No. All right, it's back. Very Lovecraftian. Very much Lovecraftian indeed. Hold on, let me get a little border for this thing again. Yeah, there we go. Yeah. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. I'll do this. I'll do this. There you go. Okay. So, yeah, the Lily Carnation, solid tier. Should the Lily Carnation be a canon concept? I'm debating this right now. Because we can always have some more horror in our One Piece. You know? Yeah, the Lily Carnation wasn't really evil. It was a plant. It's a plant that devoured things. I mean, it's kind of like just what it does, you know? I'm going to think if the Lily Carnation was canon, you could do some stuff with that. Like, that's a whole damn story arc with that thing. That thing you could have an entire story arc revolving around that carnation. All right, where the Straw Hats go to an island and the people are all connected with this plant thing, and then there's a giant flower stem at the center of the island. Like, you could do that with that. Eam, like, honestly, yeah, you could even do, like, Eam is giving power to the Gorosei in a similar manner. Yeah. Yeah. I think there's concept, I'll even put the Lily Carnation above Honey Queen, because Honey Queen's basically only on there because she's hot, but the Lily Carnation actually has plot threads that could be tied to it, you know? Like, you could do a whole D&D campaign around this thing, honestly. Yeah. Okay. So next up, we have movie 7, featuring Nami and Robin's bounce-alicious boobs. That is very, very prominent throughout the entire movie. I have not reviewed this one yet. A lot of people always tell me to review it. Like, when's movie 7? When's movie 7? I don't know when movie 7 is, but I did make a thumbnail for it. Hold on, where is it? Movie 7. Yeah, I did make a damn great thumbnail. So there's the movie 7, Karakuri Island or Mecha Island. And yeah. There we have it. Okay. So so we have the main villain of the movie, who is Ratchet, and then we have his two underlings, who I forgot completely. Honki, who is the big guy, and then we have Maji, who is like the thin dude. So they're both extremely forgettable, so I'm putting them down here. And then we have Ratchet. So Ratchet is the feudal lord of the island, if I remember this correctly, and the island is on the back of a giant turtle. It's a giant turtle, and he makes a bunch of inventions to take control of the turtle because he had a dream that God told him to do that. And then he's like, I'm going to make a bunch of mechs, and then they fight the Straw Hats in like these mechanized suits, and Sanji beats the crap out of Maji. And then Zoro beats Maji, and then Sanji beats the big tough guy. And then Ratchet comes out with this giant mech thing, and then it hits Luffy, and then Luffy actually activates Gear Second. The first time you see Gear Second animated is actually in this movie. It's like a blink and you miss it, but it's in the movie. And then Luffy punches out Ratchet, and that's kind of it. And that's it. He also tortures an animal. He tortures that poor turtle, you know? You're serious. Honki. Yeah, Honki. That's his name. Honki. So, yeah, that's his name. So he's a pretty shitty character. He's just like, I received a vision in my dream from God that I will torture this turtle and I will use it to make mechs and I will create this island. I think there's a whole message going on of like modernization and industrialization taking over, like, because there's a scene, the whole idea is that the turtle is like their guardian entity that protects them, and then he's like, man, the people of my island should have exploited this turtle for their own personal gain generations ago. I guess it's up to me to exploit this animal for my own devices. So Ratchet's a piece of shit, so I'm putting him in horrible. He's an awful villain. He's not even strong. He just makes these giant mechs that fight Luffy, and Luffy could clearly kick his ass any day of the week. Oh, yeah. Who would you vote for most objectively evil? Doflamingo? I mean, like, Doflamingo is objectively evil. The movie villain on the left, like, Doflamingo is probably the most evil character in One Piece, unless we find out more about what Eames about. But so far, Doflamingo's, like, definitely in the running. Most evil One Piece villain? Yeah, maybe, like, just dastardly, like, just trying to mess things up for the sake of messing things up. Probably. Okay, well, Tot Musica is literally a demon. So if you're talking about, like, most objectively evil, probably Tot Musica, because it is a demon from another dimension. But other than that, I would probably say Ratchet or Butler are pretty damn evil for doing what they're doing. And it's exploiting animals, which is, like, even worse, because it's like, they're just animals, dude. Lay off of it. You know? Okay. So next up, we have movie 8, Crocodile in The Princess of Alabasta, which is also a fantastic movie. Wait, hold on. I don't think I ever reviewed that movie, but I think, hold on a minute. Let me see if I have something here. I think I have some screenshots of the movie. Yeah, I have this. Yeah, I have this scene from the movie. I have Nami's reaction to that. Yeah, there's that. So, Crocodile obviously is canon. This movie was, I'll tell you what, guys, this movie was so good that Oda decided to make Crocodile canon. Even though the movie came out like 5 or 6 years after Alabasta had concluded in the anime, Oda made Crocodile a canon character because of that. Not actually Crocodile. Not actually a crocodile. You're right. Yeah, this movie actually foreshadowed all of Alabasta. It's so crazy. This movie came out, and then Oda's like, I love this idea so much, I'm going to make this into a plot in One Piece. Very forgettable, obviously. Yeah, it's a recap movie. I was even debating whether to even put Crocodile and Wapple on here because they're real movies. But they are movie villains. They are technically movie villains. So there you go. All right, there it is. And he's the exact... It's not like they rewrite his character. It's not like it's a complete reimagining of who Crocodile is. It's just... Yeah, you have to cut some stuff out in the movie for the sake of it, but he's still the same character, right? Yeah. So, yeah, I hate the recap movies. Well, the next one, movie 9, Chopper's Island, Drum Island Adventure, Chopper, another Chopper movie, because Chopper is a marketing darling. We all love Chopper. So we have Wapple, who is, of course, canon. But we also have his little brother, Mushuru. I think it's his older brother, actually, Mushuru. So Mushuru is a character that was designed by Oda. Now being designed by Oda doesn't make them canon, because a lot of movies, like Saga, was designed by Oda. They basically went to Oda and was like, can you draw us a movie character? And he's like, yeah, sure. And he's like, here you go. Here's your movie villain. I'm like, there you go. And he doesn't write for them. He just, like, draws the character, right? So we have Mushuru here. Mushuru's backstory is that he has the power of the spore fruit, so like mushrooms, right? So he used his ability and caused a lot of people at Drum Island to get sick because of the spores. So the former king, Wapple and Mushuru's father, basically exile Mushuru. So, because he's making the whole island sick, like he's a contamination waiting to happen with the spores. So, I'm not even exaggerating. They send him to an island that's referred to as the Land of Fire. So, they send him to the Land of Fire. They send him to Konoha. And I guess this land is so covered in flames, he can't use his spores. Like, his spores are useless. His devil fruit is useless in the hot environment of the Land of Fire. So then Wapple in the movie is like, oh man, I know who I could use. I could need some extra help with this. I'm going to go pick up my little brother, and I'm going to have him to help me take over Drum Island. Okay, so that's the whole idea. And Mushiro appears in later movies. He appears in Stampede. He appears, maybe in Film Red, I can't remember. But in every movie, like, he does show up with Wapol, basically. Like, they are brothers in the movies. They sent him to the Leaf Village. Yeah, to the Fire Nation with you. Mushiro, you're too dangerous. So yeah, he comes back and he uses his spores in the movie. And it's a cool devil fruit power, I guess. He's Wapol's brother. Like, you know, to say that he should be canon, not really. Solid movie villain, I don't even know. Like, Wapol already is not one of the most memorable One Piece villains. You know, like, there's way better villains in One Piece than Wapol. I'll put him in bland, I guess. I remember him, and he does show up in other properties, and he does have a cool devil fruit, I guess. Yeah, he's pretty bland. Maybe does he get points because he's Wapol's brother, though? Does he get some points because he's actually related to a main character? Because none of these other characters are related to main characters. You know, he does maybe get some points for that, you know? I'd say for a solid movie, I'd say for a movie villain, yeah. If the idea, the definition of this is he should exist in a movie but not in the real story, fine. I'm okay with that, yeah. Yeah. I'll keep him there. So that was movie 9. So those are the 2 recap movies. So we made it through those. Next up, we have The Golden Lion, Shiki. All right, Shiki. Well, he's definitely going into canon automatically. Shiki is confirmed to be canon recently in One Piece because we actually finally do see him in the manga in the chapter releases. Now, he showed up in the Strong World, but that was like that was chapter 0. That was like a special released manga chapter, I think, with the movie. That wasn't in the weekly release. But now with the chapters with God Valley flashback and everything, we do see Shiki there with the Rocks Pirates. He is 100% canon. Now, that doesn't mean that moving forward, all of these characters, even if they turn out to be canon later, the events of their movies are not canon. So the whole thing with Merville and the IQ plant and the army of beasts that he had working for him, Strong World is like basically like, how many wacky animal designs can we have in this movie? There's like 30 of them. There's like so many crazy animals in that movie. Just draw a bunch of crazy weird animals and we'll throw them in Strong World. It's like, okay. So Shiki is so much fun in this movie, though. He's like he is like a comedy routine with Indigo and Scarlet, who's next to on this list. So Indigo is the clown and Scarlet is the giant ape, who looks like, there's a scene where like Shiki's like, "You're my mother," and just like, I guess Shiki's mom looks like a gorilla. I don't know. It's funny though. I like it. Yeah. Strong World is a very lovable movie. It is. And it isn't my personal favorite of the most recent ones, because now we're getting into the good One Piece movies. Now we're getting into the One Piece movies that like everybody has seen from Strong World on. Strong World kind of started it like, hey, let's make One Piece movies actually good. Let's make them affairs that are pretty high budget and that look pretty cool. This is the moment where that happened. Strong World kind of made that. Shiki can dance with peg legs. He of course made it canon. Now, as for Indigo, I will say Indigo and Scarlet are okay as movie villains. I kind of don't want Indigo to... I don't want that thing to exist in the manga. Maybe it would work in the manga, maybe. But when we see Shiki in the present of the manga, I think their little comedy duo thing worked in the movie. I kind of want Shiki in the manga to have something else going on for him. You know, we don't even know if Shiki's going to have the steering wheel in his head in the anime. I mean, in the manga, like when we actually meet him. Yeah. Yeah, they're pretty bland. I think they're better than bland. But in the movies, they're fine. Man, a lot of people are putting them in bland right now. Yeah, you know what? Let's do a poll. Haven't done a poll yet. Now we're getting into the movies. I think people are going to be more opinionated moving forward because most people in the chat have probably seen all of these movies. I mean, moving forward. Start a poll then. Okay, where should Indigo? I'll just put Shiki's minions. Where should Shiki's minions go? And I'll put them in solid or bland. I don't think that they're definitely not forgettable. They're not horrible. I'll even put should be canon. I'll put it on there. Okay, and those are the only 3 categories I could see them really going into. So we'll do a little bit of a poll here and see what happens. Indigo was in Chapter 0. That is true. Okay, Shiki has been mentioned. No, because at the end of film, no, that doesn't work. Because at the end of Chapter 0, when Indigo shows up, they are setting up the events of the movie, and the events of the movie did not happen in the fucking real manga. Like, that did not occur. So there's no way that Indigo... I mean, sure, Oda could make Indigo canon, but I don't think that's just the reason there. Shiki might not appear in the current story. He totally could. I mean, like, he might not, but, like, he showed up in the Rock's backstory, so it's solid, and also Higurashi transformed into him, so Oda knows about Shiki. Oda has not forgotten about Shiki and was like, oh, Shiki was just a movie villain, like, 15 years ago. Who cares about him anymore? There's definitely some, like he's incorporating Shiki into the plot. I'm pretty sure he's going to show up. I'm pretty sure he's the guy that was talking to Crocus in that backstory. Yeah. Pretty damn sure he was there. Let me pull that up, actually. When did I make that Shiki video? 2020. Give that a second for the poll, and then I'll get back to it. Oh, wow. Was that 2019 I made the Shiki video? Man, sometimes I forget when I make these videos. I've made so many. So many videos. Let's see. Okay, strong. Okay, here's the Shiki video. Okay, here's a picture of Nami's butt. And then I have a picture of Escanor in here for some reason. I don't know why that's there. And then... where is that shot with... yeah, here it is. Yeah. Oh, it was a GIF. I didn't even notice that was a GIF. All right, so then we have this guy right here. That's drinking with Crocus. It seems to be pretty obviously Shiki in the colored manga spread here. So Shiki and Crocus are having a drink. Yeah. Oh, man. Yes, Nami's butt is canon. Very canon indeed, yes. Okay, so we got Shiki. And his 2 minions. Okay, so where are the minions? Put them in solid, actually. Okay. Well, they're right there right now, so that's fair. I personally do not think that's Shiki. It might not be. Maybe they messed up the manga coloring. Maybe they're not, because the manga coloring puts it Shiki, like, right on the nose. But I don't know how that works. If they go up to Oda specifically and be like, hey, Oda, for the digital manga coloring, what's this random character supposed to be? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if they ask Oda or they just do it themselves and they just guess. Yeah. So it could have been somebody that's just like, oh, this is probably Shiki. Yeah. Could be Yorkie. Yeah. Bro, even his coat is the same. Well, he has a striped kimono. It might not be the same colors, though. But I'm pretty sure it is Shiki. I am 85% sure that is Shiki. I am not 90. I'll say 85% sure that is Shiki. All right. So there we go. Next movie. Oh, man, this is a good one. One Piece Movie 11 3D Mugiwara Chase. Oh my god, remember this one? This is like a IMAX, like 4D kind of movie where you're in like you have to like watching it in 3D IMAX is kind of the whole point of it. The Straw Hats are all in 3D, like rendering in this one, and it's basically just Luffy's straw hat gets stolen by this dog who has the hawk zone or falcon. No, Pell is the falcon. I think it's just a hawk. It turns into a hawk, so it's a dog with a hawk zone. And then this old guy is named Schneider, and he's like this grizzled old guy that's going to die, and the dog wants to help him, and the dog kidnaps Luffy's hat because Luffy's hat apparently has a 3 million bounty on it. It's so stupid. It's like the hat of Straw Hat Luffy worth 3 million. Which actually, okay, that might actually tie into something because it is actually Roger's hat. It used to be Shanks' hat, and then it was Roger's hat. And then maybe it was Joy Boy's hat. It's like, wait a minute. You know, sounds like filler. Well, it was a movie, so all movie is kind of filler. So they chase the hat around, and the whole gimmick of the movie is you're in like an IMAX theater with like, I don't know if it was in 3D. Yeah, I think it was in 3D. You had like glasses on, and it's like the hat is flying under a bridge, and then it's under a cavern, and then the straw hats go under the water, and then they go into this crystal cave, and then they pop out, and they're in this marine base, and the marines all fire at them, and the straw. It is not a long movie. It is like 35 minutes long. It is not even really a movie. I mean, I guess it's a short film, you know, is what it is. We watched it for movie night like years ago, but it's not very memorable. Schneider, I'm sorry, and then Buzz is the name of the dog, also sorry. Very forgettable characters. And I think, I think Completely Forgettable is definitely going to be the winner here in terms of number of characters here. The soundtrack was good. Yeah, the soundtrack was fine. Yeah, sure. Yeah. It's not a major movie. It is just supposed to be the Straw Hats are in 3D. It's like that was basically the whole point of that movie, yeah. All right, how do you know their names? I wrote them down because I couldn't remember all of them. I wrote them down. I checked before I did this video. All right, next up, we have Z, Zephyr, Zed. All right, well, he was pretty forgettable, honestly. I mean, what is this guy doing? I don't even know what the hell he was even all about. Yeah, no. Z should be canon. Z 100% needs to be canon. They have a whole backstory for this guy. Now, Guild Tesoro's backstory, I think, was more detailed than this dude's, but Zephyr still has a really good backstory. They kind of go through his life as a Marine, where he starts out, he's like a little kid, and he wants to be like the superhero to save everybody, and then they cut to him as like a soldier, like a seaman recruit in the Marines, and then as a chief petty officer, and then as like a lieutenant, and then as a captain, and then as a vice admiral, and then as an admiral, and then as a retired guy. You know, he's this grizzled old man in the Marines. You know, and he's got this giant arm. We're getting to the point where we actually have decent artwork of them as well from, like, Treasure Cruise and shit like that. So, like, we have, check out this guy. Like, yeah, he's a big, tough guy, but that's not his whole character. His whole character is not, I'm a big, tough guy that punches things. That'll be 2 movies from now. We'll get that character coming up soon. But yeah, Zephyr is a pretty, you feel for him when you learn about what happened to his family. He had he had a wife and kids, and they were murdered by pirates, and then he fought pirates, and he lost an arm, and the pirate that mutilated him became a warlord, and he had enough. He's like, screw this shit, and then he left the Marines. And he left the Marines after that, and that kind of sets on him making the Neo Marines. So he's like, screw this, I'm going to make my own Marines with blackjack and hookers. In fact, forget the blackjack and the Marines. But that's what he does. And he's a good, the final battle with him and Luffy, it's pretty sad when he finally dies. It's not a moment where you're like, yeah, Luffy, kick his ass. I mean, you're kind of doing that. He's like, yeah, Luffy, kick his ass. But it's like, all right, yeah, you kind of feel for the guy at the same time. His freaking wife and kids were murdered by pirates. I mean, yeah. You feel for him, dude. Now, when it comes to the next 2 characters, though, Ein and Beans, from the movie, they really don't have any kind of backstory. Their backstory is Zephyr's backstory. It is... The Marines were Zephyr was leading a group of Marines into battle against, we don't know who it was. It might have been Weevil, but they lead them into fighting a pirate. The pirate cuts off Zephyr's arm. All the other Marines die except for Ein and Bins, and then they all form the Neo Marines together. But that is their backstory. Like their backstory is they were Marine officers that got into a fight once and then followed Zephyr to make the Neo Marines. That's all they have. They don't have anything else going for them. We don't know about how Ein grew up or Bins grew up or anything like that. They are just there. Now, they do have some unique abilities. They do have some unique powers. So Ein has the power of the back fruit, or the return fruit, which regresses anything she touches by 12 years. I don't know why 12 years specifically. I don't know why it's that exact number of years, but she can regress people back in intervals of 12 years. So kind of like a crappy version of Bonnie's ability or a reversed version of Shinobu's ability, but it's even kind of worse because it can only be 12 years. She can't regress something by just a year or 6 months or a day. It has to be 12 years. So she uses that ability on Brooke and Chopper and Nami. And then there's Binz, who has the ability to, like, grow plants. It's not the same kind of fruit as Green Bull, but it's an ability to, like, control plants to an extent, but not to, like, he's not a Logia. It's basically like Green Bull's fruit, but weaker and as a paramecia is kind of what he can do. But he's like a ninja. He has this, ninja look here. He's very bright and flamboyant and everything like that. Yeah. Oh, yeah, she used it on Robin, too. Yeah, Robin was also regressed. I'm actually really happy that she did not use that ability. They could have messed that up so bad. They could have had this character show up and use that power on, like, Luffy or Sanji or Zoro. Like, oh, we're going to make Luffy, Zoro, and Sanji kids again, guys, so they can't fight anymore. La-da-dee-da. Guess they're going to have to go the whole movie as kids, and they won't be able to fight because they're not as strong. I like that they used it on Nami and Chopper in the sense that, like, they're not the strongest members of the crew, so it doesn't matter as much, Oh, I'm sorry, I have a phone call. So in that regard, they didn't mess up the story, because that's like that Dragon Ball GT shit at that point where you're making Goku into a little kid, and it's like, oh, screw you. He's a little kid, so he's weaker now. What are you gonna do? And like, I hate those kind of tropes. I hate them. Anytime in the movies that happens, anytime where it's like, we have a really strong character. Well, now, how are they going to fight these guys? They're too powerful in the manga. They're too powerful in the canon. All right, let's make a character that powers them down through some bullshit means. It's like, all right, here we go. Yeah. It was funny when Ein de-aged Brooke. It was funny because Brooke is like, I'm a young 78 now. Oh my goodness. Okay, hold on. I got a text. Hold on a second here. Okay, hold on a second here. I have some friends. I'm doing dinner tonight. My friends are coming down for dinner after this, and I'm gonna make some stuff, and my friend's texting me, so I need to figure out what's up with that. But okay, all right, yeah, debuff. You mean what happened to Julius? Yeah, kinda. I hate that type of shit. You guys saw how mad I got with Odyssey. I stopped playing Odyssey because of that bullshit. Like literally that literally is the trope that bugs me more than any other. It really does. That is my pet peeve. That trope pisses me off more than anything. But in the case with Ein, like, Nami uses the climb attack, so it's like, whatever. Chopper, I guess, is weaker, but that's fine. Robin is still basically, she goes from 30 to 18, so she can still use her Hana no Mi. It's not like she's so weak she doesn't know how to use her Devil Fruit anymore. And Brooke is just 90 to 78, so it's like, who cares, right? So, what's for dinner? I'm doing a salmon with garlic bread and some roasted veggies and a side salad. Homemade garlic bread. Okay, so Ein and Binz, though, I honestly don't... They're really not interesting characters. They have devil fruits that are kind of cool, but, yeah. Yeah, I haven't read any super chats yet. I'll get to those at the end, guys. Don't worry about it. I'll get to those after that. We want Tekking's cooking videos. I will read the super chats at the end. Don't worry about it. Oh, that's right. The way Sanji was acting around Nami. Well, we're not ranking movie Sanji, so don't worry about. We're not ranking the way that Sanji acted in Strong World. We're not Strong World. Yeah, no, Film Z. Sorry, we're not ranking that. So, yeah, I'm gonna put them in perfectly bland. Honestly, I don't like they had abilities and that was it. Did you name yourself Tekking because of Tekken? No, I did not. Okay, that's not a big deal. I just have to... Okay, that's fine. Yeah. Ein's is solid, Binz is bland. Okay, I'll do that. I'll meet you there. Okay. I'll even put her up. By virtue of the fact there's not a lot of women on this list, I'll rank her up a little higher. I'll put her in front of El Drogo. How about that? Okay. All right. Yeah, they were loyal to Zephyr, yeah. No way you find them less interesting. Bins can kind of... Yeah, Bins isn't really. I don't really care about the ninja guy. But Ein is like, okay. All right. Okay. Now we finally get to Film Gold. Movie number 13, baby. And we're starting off with a pretty solid villain. We have Guild Tesoro. All right. Yeah, Guild Tesoro, man. And you know what? I think everybody might be on the same page with me on this. I mean, we can go to a poll if we want, but I'm putting Guild Tesoro at should be canon, guys. I mean, maybe not above. All right, we're going to reorganize this. I think I'll put Honey Queen at the bottom, but I think Guild Tesoro would fit in being canon. All right, Film Gold. Film Gold. Yeah, what about Heart of Gold? That was an OVA, not a movie. That was an OVA. All right. Now, here's the deal with Guild Tesoro. They went hard with this guy's backstory. This motherfucker has an entire backstory. It's shown in the movie, not all of it, but a good chunk of it is shown in the movie. And also there was a manga pamphlet, volume 777, that came out with the movie that just goes into his whole backstory with him. And it's actually pretty damn tragic. So I read up on it for the sake of this, and I think I remember most of it. So this is the backstory with Guild Tesoro, okay? So he was raised in an abusive household. His dad was like an abusive drunk and like gambler that would like beat the shit out of him. And his mother was like just very dismissive and was like clearly it was an abusive relationship, abusive household. Eventually they got so poor they just abandoned him. Like, we can't take care of this kid anymore. We don't want this kid anymore. So they left him on the street. He basically grew up on the streets in like a gang. He started gambling and drinking when he was pretty young. So then, though, he meets a girl named, I think her name was, what was her name? Not Scarlet. It started with an S. Was it Samantha? Somebody let me know what the girl's name was. But he meets a girl that is enslaved, that is literally at a human auction shop, like a human shop, because those exist in One Piece. The human auction house wasn't the only one. There are a lot of slaves in one. Stella, that was her name. Stella was her name. So there's this girl that worked at this, or not worked, she was enslaved at this shop, and Guild Tesoro falls in love with her, falls in love with Stella, and is like, I am going to... It's kind of meeting Stella that gets him to stop drinking and stop, like they're teenagers at this point. Like, he's 16 and is already kind of, like, into drinking and gambling and everything. And so he's like, I'm going to get straight-laced, I'm going to quit the drink, and I'm going to start working hard to get enough money to buy your freedom. So he starts doing that. He starts saving up money and doing it in a good way to get money to buy Stella's freedom. And then before he has a chance to buy Stella back, she gets sold to this noble, to a Tenryubito. And he's like, oh no, give her back. And he attacks the Tenryubito. He gets the shit beat out of him, obviously. And then they both become slaves. So he gets the brand of the Celestial Dragon sigil branded on his back. I need to make a whole video about Guild Tesoro. I haven't made a video about him. I need to make a video about this guy. Reading his backstory again is like really fucking tragic. So he becomes a slave at Marijois. And eventually he gets away from that, but Stella dies. He escapes when Fisher Tiger attacks. They tie it back into the Fisher Tiger thing. They really cared about whoever wrote this guy's backstory. I don't think it was Oda. But whoever wrote this guy's backstory knew their shit with the One Piece lore. When Fisher Tiger attacked Marijois, this guy got freed. Okay, like 11 or 12 years ago or whatever like that. So he gets out of here, and then he gets freed. Stella dies. He's obviously grieving. You know, like the love of his life is gone, and he couldn't free her. He could never show her freedom. So then he starts to build up his empire. And that's not even the end of his backstory. He eventually, so the Doflamingo family gets involved with this because this movie is coming out along the same time as Dressrosa. So he's kind of like, just like Gasparde was basically Crocodile, Guild Tesoro was kind of like Doflamingo, but he has his own unique backstory other than Doflamingo. He's not just like Gasparde's kind of like a stand-in for Crocodile. Guild Tesoro actually is like his own man. It's just he bears a lot of similarities to Doflamingo. He's got the drip. He wears pink. It's there, okay? But yeah, so the Doflamingo family was going to auction off the gold fruit. He basically kills everybody at the auction, steals the gold fruit, eats it. The Doflamingo family get pissed at him. They send some assassins to kill him. He kills their assassins, and so there's like a Doflamingo Guild to Zoro like rivalry for a time. Like they kind of like are rival crime lords. Eventually, though, they kind of become like business partners where Doflamingo's like, okay, instead of killing this guy, I guess I can kind of get him to work for me, or we could work together, like mutually benefited each other. And so they start working together. Guild to Zoro has the power of the gold fruit, which is a paramecia. He makes all this gold. He makes Gran Turismo, whatever. He makes his giant, like, super big cruise ship yacht casino thing. He employs everybody. He has a whole backstory with all of his minions. And then he rules supreme there, and then the Straw Hats show up. So all of that is his fucking backstory, man. Like, come on. This guy has a lot going for him here, man. I gotta do a whole video. You know what? I'm gonna do a whole video about Guild to Zoro during this break. We have 3 weeks to fill. Might as well. 4 weeks, probably. Yeah, Gran to Zoro is right. Guild to Zoro is his name. So this dude has a lot of stuff happening for him. He should definitely be canon. Absolutely, he should be canon. But now comes another character that is quite fabulous. We have the lovely Miss Baccarat. All right, so Baccarat is, yeah, when it comes to One Piece movie waifus, I guess, yeah, she ranks the highest here. Yeah, there she is. There she is. Okay. I mean, so her ability is broken as fuck. Her ability is the luck fruit, allowing her to manipulate luck. So she can, like, you know, someone's coming at her that's way stronger than her, just trips on a banana peel and just falls down and gets lit on fire. It's a really crazy ability. I made a whole video about it years and years ago. I forgot about her tattoo. Yeah, I did too, honestly. But here we go. So she is Lady Luck. She's literally Lady Luck. And the way that they beat her in the movie, because she's depicted as like nigh invincible in the movie. And the way that they beat her is great. So she has a limit to how much luck in one moment she can give out. So basically, Usopp takes his slingshot, fires. So basically, she fights with coins. That's how she does. She like flings coins at people, and when they hit people, like it's kind of like Fuko's ability from Undead Unluck. It literally is like the Unluck ability where she like hits you and then all of your luck goes away and then you get hurt by something ridiculous. It is the Unluck ability, kind of. So the way that Usopp beats her was that she throws a coin at Usopp. Before the coin can hit her, he fires a special star that turns into a slot machine. So it's a slot machine flying at the coin. The coin uses all of its luck to go into the slot machine, hit the thing, do 777s to absorb all the luck, because all the luck that it would require to fire a coin into a slot machine going at 100 miles an hour right at you, hit the slot, hit 777, like that uses up all of her luck, and then boom, they're able to take her down. But my God, that movie, that fight was cool. Sounds like a stand ability. It is more stand than Devil Fruit. I will say that much. 5 times the jackpot. Yeah. Fired a slot machine in the coin's path. Very unique way to end that fight. I'm putting Baccarat at should be canon. Guild to Zoro and Baccarat, them as a duo being canon is nice. That would be flawless. Now, as for the other villains in Film Gold, they fall a little short. Tanaka's kind of cool just because of his appearance, and he has the phase fruit. His Devil Fruit is really good. He can phase through any solid matter like a ghost. The way they stop him is actually really unique because Robin fights him and uses her arms, and he can only phase through inorganic matter, not organic. So he can't, if you make a wall of limbs, which is what Robin can do, or like trap him, he can't phase out of that shit. So that's actually a really clever way that they beat him. I'm going to put him as a solid movie villain, 100%. Very solid. And then we have Dice. Dice is like big tough guy, and I believe he fights Zoro. Zoro beats him, I think, with no sword style with hockey. That was pretty neat. He's like no sword style hockey technique for a minute there. Tanaka is Mirio. Yeah, basically. He's kind of cute in that creepy way. Yeah. And then maybe, is Dice solid, or is he just perfectly bland? Is Dice like... Dice is definitely the least interesting out of all of them, I would say. You forgot Burn D World. Nope, he was an OVA character, not a movie character. I did not forget Burn D World. He was a true masochist. Oh, that's right. He had that whole thing going on. Yeah, he had that going on. Dice is okay. Well, if we gave, yeah, all right. I'll make him at the bottom of solid. He's all right. He's more memorable than yeah, anybody. I'm looking down there. He's more memorable than that, I guess. Then again, I did forget the thing that goes with him, so yeah. Bland, solid, but do a poll. Yeah, I can't believe we're doing a poll for Dice, but all right. Where should Dice go? I'll put him as solid and bland. I don't see him going anywhere else. I don't see him going in canon. He might barely... Oh, a lot of people want to go with bland here. Just roll the dice. Roll the dice. I like him more than the phase guy. Yeah, I do too. Dice should go in the dice tray. All right, he's getting 62% in bland. I could kind of see the way the wind is blowing on this one. I'm gonna put Dice down in bland. That's where I think he should go. So we literally have Guild to Zoro and Baccarat as should be canon. Tanaka is like, you know, solid. He's okay. And then Dice is like, he's bland. I don't really need him in the story. But like, yeah, pretty good right all the way down. Film Gold had some diversity. All right. 2 movies left. Moving on to One Piece. Movie number 14. This will be Stampede. One of the weaker... This was like one of the weakest entries in the last couple of movies, to be honest with you. Like, Strong World, very solid. Z, very solid. Film Gold, very solid. Stampede just... It was more of a big event kind of movie. Like, you know, One Piece, I think the 20th anniversary of the manga, so that's why it was coming out. But it was just this big movie of, like, them all fighting a kaiju. Bullet is not an interesting character. He really isn't. He is... Hold on, let me I have him right here. He is big, tough, strong guy that punches things really hard. Oh, you supernovas don't know anything about power. I'm gonna punch you. He is basically Proto-Kaido. His backstory is like he was raised as a super soldier on an island, and then they got too afraid of his strength, so even the island he was fighting for kicked him out kind of thing. And there was this big disaster. He is basically a shittier form of Kaido. He turns into this giant thing, but like if you saw the movie Stampede, there's so much CGI plastered to this thing, you can't even like this is what it's supposed to look like. This is what this thing is supposed to look like. It does not look like this in the movie. You cannot tell that is what this thing is supposed to look like in the movie. It is covered with so much CG smoke and fog, like billowing off of this guy, that you can only barely make out like a silhouette or like a vague shape of what this thing is. It does not render well in the movie. It is very hard to tell. Like when I saw the artwork of this, I'm like, that's what he turned into? That is what that thing was supposed to look like? I'm like, all right, well they dropped the ball in the movie because it don't look like that. Yeah. It looks like it's made of wood. Yeah, kind of. It's a CGI blob in the movie. It really is. The submarine was cool. Yeah, the submarine was pretty cool. Yeah. The CGI really butchered it. It really did. It really did in the movie. Now, it was cool to see Boa and Crocodile and Sabo and Luffy and everybody team up against this giant thing. And it was neat, I guess. Like, Boa kicks this thing so damn hard, it, like, blasts off, I think, part of his arm. It's a neat scene. It's a neat fight. But, yeah. Bullet is... I'm not really feeling him. I mean, like, he's either perfectly bland or he's a horrible movie villain. I guess he's just bland. You know, like, he doesn't do anything that's really... Yeah, One Piece D&D Bullet is better. Ah, Rustage, you were waiting for that bullet to appear. Yeah, One Piece D&D Bullet should be canon, absolutely. But, yeah, Stampede Bullet... Bland is not horrible. That is true. Bland is not horrible. I will put up a poll for this because he is the main villain. And you know what? Like, look, it's kind of like Strong World, really good villain. Film Z, good villain. Film Gold, good villain. Film Red, good villain. There's gonna be a shitty one at some point. You know what I mean? Like, you know, they had all these movies. Out of the last 5 One Piece movies, this was the weakest one. It's all right, I guess. No, I don't want to start a Q&A. I want to start a poll. All right, where does Doug go? Doug Bullet. They tried to change it to, like, you know, I'll put all of them. Should be canon. Solid. And then perfectly bland. And then horrible. Because he's not forgettable. I remember the villain of... He's the main villain of the movie. If your main villain is forgettable, that's a problem. But, yeah. R.I.P. Bullet. Did Bullet die in One Piece D&D? I don't think she died. Rustage, did Bullet die? What's Bullet up to right now in One Piece, in Marines, Rustage? What's that going on? Ah, yes. A lot of people are saying in the chat that they clicked because of the thumbnail. Yes, my best laid plans are working so well. Tee-hee. Yeah, she died, man. She died. Yeah. Wait, Bullet was in D&D? Oh, yeah. I did forget how Bullet died to Roger. Wow, was that forgettable. Wow. I don't even remember William mourning her. Did William mourn her for very long? I don't imagine this happening. I don't remember this. I completely forgot Bullet died. Wow. Poor William. William forgot. Oh, yeah, there was that lady that died. I remember her. Nope, he sure didn't. Yeah. Well, that's William for you. Okay. So, where are we at? Perfectly bland for Douglas Bullet. Okay. Yeah, okay. And they tried to do this thing where what makes it even worse with Bullet is they tried to connect him to Roger's crew. Like, he's the demon heir. He's the heir to Roger. Oh, fuck off. You know what I mean? He is not the heir to Roger. He has no personality. Like, none of it. He's like, I will get strong by myself, only for myself. I'm like, oh, yeah. Haven't heard that a million times before in any movie. That makes you really interesting. Yeah. So, yeah, perfectly bland. I'm going to put you at the bottom of perfectly bland, too. All right, who's next? Buena Festa. So it's almost like they took Bullet's character and divided it into 2 characters. Like, Buena Festa is the more charismatic side of it, and Bullet is the tough aspect of it. So it's almost like you could have just merged these characters into 2, but I guess you needed somebody to, like, Buena Festa, I'm going to make the pirate festival, and then they'll all come to it, and then... and it's like he's on, like, the Revolutionary Army's wanted list, which is why Sabo's there. You know, okay. Yeah, Festa is just... He is bland as well. I can't even really remember anything about Festa, except he has an afro. He's like a big-time executive. He's just like, all right, Douglas Bullet, you're gonna go straight to the top, kid. Number 1! You know, like, that's basically Buena Festa. Yeah, Festa's more confusing than anything. How the hell did he set up that pirate festival? How did he know that a knock-up stream was going to release a ship that had the fucking log pose to Laughtail that Roger's crew found and then threw in a random location in the middle of the Grand Line? How did he set all this up? It doesn't even make sense. Yeah. Buena Festo was like, if Douglas Bullet was a Pokemon, Buena Festo was the trainer. Yeah. This is where group discussions are important. Damn straight, yeah. There was a lot. They dropped the ball a lot with Stampede. I think the main goal of Stampede was to make it a good, big effects movie. It was not supposed to have a really interesting story or characters. Oh, yeah. So, I have no idea where to put this guy. I'm kind of thinking about putting him in horrible because of how little sense he made. Like, the other ones are in horrible because, like, the sword had no personality. It was a sword. Ratchet and Butler harmed animals. Skunk 1 is just disgusting. Bojack is just, and Bear King is also super bland and horrible. He tried to marry Nami, which was weird. That's fair. I say horrible. Yeah, I'm putting him in horrible. Yeah, screw it. Okay. Last movie for now. They're probably working on one right now. We'll probably get an announcement for a new movie this year. Probably like later this year, we'll get an announcement. Maybe next year in 2025 will be the next one. Because when did Film Red come out? 22? Film Red came out in, late 22. No, August 22 in Japan, I think. So, yeah, probably this year we'll get an announcement for a new one, maybe. Okay, Uta. All right, so Uta's story is very sad. Like, let me pull up Uta here. Let me pull up her crazy face. Oh, Uta's crazy cray face. She has a lot of, she needs therapy. If there was ever a character on this list that needs therapy, Uta needs it. She needs it bad. She lived basically her entire life in isolation, her like teenage and adolescence in isolation, and then developed parasocial relationships with the entire world. She needs therapy bad. All right. So, how to even begin with Uta? She was the daughter of Shanks for a while. And then Shanks and where they were on that island, Elgia. Spoilers for Film Red, by the way, if you haven't seen it. They were on that island of Elgia. And then Uta was left there, and then they were gonna leave her there because, you know, that's the place where she could sing and she could learn about singing and she could be really, you know, she could really flourish there. And the Uta no Mi she consumed had the power of this demon locked away. It was really kind of stupid. But the demon woke up and murdered the whole island except for Gordon, who was the king, or the mayor of the island or whatever. Shanks' crew defeats the demon, but then leaves Uta there, but then does not explain anything to her or why they're leaving her there. So Uta just thinks that Shanks is abandoning her. They never stay in touch with her. They don't even contact her for, like, her birthday via Denden Mushi or, like, go back to the island to make sure she's okay. They just fucking abandon her on that island. Don't leave her a note. Don't call her. They just leave her there. Because it's for the best to leave her completely alone with one dude on an island with no kids her own age. She grows up there pretty much completely isolated. She later learns about what happened that night, so she thinks she's the one that murdered an entire island. Then she discovers these Denden Mushis on the beach. She develops parasocial relationships with the whole world. She is not nearly equipped to deal with that, so she thinks that the best thing for the world is to trap everybody in a dreamscape. She takes a bunch of shrooms to stay awake constantly, so she's just overdosing on uppers to stay awake, so her mental capacity is completely fucked, even though it was already kind of really messed up. And then she dies at the end of the movie, basically, after she releases everybody from the dream world or the music world or whatever. Holy crap, this is a sad story. Now, here's the thing with Uta, though. Here's the thing. She is canon. She shows up Shanks thinks about her in a flashback. In the manga, she's there. It's her. She is canon. Now, all the stuff about Top Musica and Elgia and Gordon and all that crap, that stuff's probably not canon. She might not even have the Uta no Mi. But Uta is canon. You do see her in the manga. Yes. Yeah, the fact that we cared about her and then she died, that was very, very sad. That wasn't a tie-in. No, it is in the chapter where Shanks is thinking about like all the people in the former generation, like all the people that have fought, and like the young generation that is getting started out there in the world. I think it's during the time when he's using his Conqueror's Hockey on Green Bull at Wano, and you see a panel. She's there. Yeah. Yeah, she's definitely there. I mean, I wouldn't say she's not a good character. It's just, I definitely feel for her. I can understand her plight, like 100%. Yeah. Her motives didn't make any sense. Yeah, because she's like 21 years old, spent all of her childhood basically in isolation, and then all of a sudden is the most popular Twitch streamer in the entire world. No shit. Her logic, and then she's downing fucking uppers. Yeah, no shit. Her logic, she's downing trucker pills. That logic made no sense, but it makes sense that it made no sense. It's like, okay, imagine it being a little kid that wants to make the whole world happy, so they change the whole world into like, I know what makes me happy, candy. I'm going to make everybody have candy every single meal of the day. Does that make any sense? No, but it's a child doing it, and it's like, oh, okay, I get this. Like the child is thinking they are helping everybody, but in reality, they're making everything worse, Yeah, she's on meth, dog. She's on meth. Oh, yeah. She needs serious therapy really bad. Well, she would if she wasn't dead. Shanks is a douchebag in that movie. Yeah, he kind of is. Dude, you could have, like, left her a note. You could have called her once a year on her birthday to ask how she's doing. You could have stopped by every once in a while. Everybody in One Piece is, like, all or nothing. It's just like, well, I'm either a parent there for them all the time or I'm a deadbeat. There's no in between. Oh, man. Shanks is the villain. Yeah, Shanks should maybe be on this list, maybe. But anyway, here we go. We have the last villain. We have Top Musica, who is the true villain in the movie, who is a demon that is locked away in the power of the music dimension that can only be accessed via the Uta Uta no Mi. I hope they don't include the demon in the actual... I hope Uta doesn't even have a fruit in the mainline story if they do incorporate her. I hope she's just... She used to be the... Honestly, this is the way I hope it goes for Uta's character if they do it. I used to think she was just dead when she was a child, but no, here's a way you could do that. Shanks still abandons her, so he's still kind of a douche. But Shanks still abandons her on Elgia, but none of the other shit happened. She didn't have a devil fruit. She was just a really talented musician. Top Musica's not a thing. The island wasn't annihilated. You can even make Gordon canon, fine. And then she's just living on Elgia, learning to be a better musician. That's it. Just have her be there. And you could still have her be alive. Yeah. This does not sound like a One Piece plot. It is weird. It is weird the direction they go with this. It is about as weird as in movie 5 when they were doing like, yeah, there's an actual god now, and the god created this sword. And the sword is evil now because it got corrupted through the sins of man. Like, that's the lore of the movie. It is weird to incorporate, like, there's an actual legit demon from another dimension that comes into existence through a devil fruit. It is very weird. Yeah. So Top Musica, I would say, you know what? Because of the uniqueness of Top Musica, though, very unique, very different for a movie character, I'll put Top Musica, like, here. Fine. Like, Top Musica, like, all right, I don't think this would ever work in the mainline One Piece story. Because even, like, the Gorosei are not probably, like, demons from another dimension. That would be weird. They're probably either real yokai or Eam turned them into that, or they're just mythical zone users. But it's not going to be a thing where, like, Eam is an alien from another dimension, from hell. It's just like, nah, I don't think that's going to happen. Eam is a god. It's like, no, I don't think we're going to... Well, if Oda does it, it's not going to be the way that Top Musica was done. Yeah. Yeah, but even, like, the sun god Nika, we don't know, like, how the lore of that really shakes down yet. If the sun god is a legit god and, like, you know, gods are now interfering in the One Piece world, like, we don't really know about it yet. aliens exist, but like aliens from a different dimension. Now you're just getting ridiculous, One Piece. Now you're just getting absurd, you know? Anyway, I'm going to put Top Musica as like a solid movie villain. It looks pretty cool. Like, where did I have an image of Top Musica? Yeah, here. I mean, it looks pretty beast over Uta there. It can kind of morph its body, and it's like surrounded by various music instruments, and it's all right. It has those skulls around it. It looks pretty neat. I can actually tell what the damn thing looks like, other than in Stampede, when you can't even tell. So that's at least something. All right. That song was awesome, though. Oh yeah, Top Musica was incredible. Also, if you haven't listened to the English version, because the original is really good, but listen to the English version by Uta's voice actress, who is Amelie, over on Lee and Lee, on her YouTube channel, because that Top Musica rendition is really good. In the movie, like, those weird runes pop up. Like, the song isn't even in, like, it's like an ancient runic. It really gave the feel that this song is something ancient and lost, and you shouldn't sing it or else a demon wakes the fuck up, you know? So at least it had that vibe to it, which was pretty good. Yeah. Amelie cooked with that. Amanda Lee, yeah, really did. I want to see if I ever do a video on Uta, I want to see if she would maybe be interested in doing a collab with that. Or maybe not even a full collab, but like maybe recording something for the video, because like she's a YouTuber and she actually voiced Uta. So I would like to have her collab with me for that video. But I haven't messaged her or anything yet. Briggs worked with her on some stuff. Briggs edited some stuff for her, so see how that works. But if not, that's okay too. Yeah. Yeah, I was going to talk to Briggs. Okay. Well, anyway, that's the movie. I mean, Shanks should really be at the top of this. But this is what we have. This is what we got. Canon, we got Crocodile, Wapple, Shiki, and Uta, who are all confirmed to be canon. Then we have everybody else. I'm not going to go through every single one, but these are the movie villains. There's some shit ones, there's some whatever ones, there's some forgettable ones, and then there's some solid ones, and then there's ones that I legitimately could see being incorporated, like Honey Queen in the One Piece world. I can imagine is like she would also be an underling, like she wouldn't be a main villain. Baccarat and Guild to Zoro as like a power couple in the making like a duo that's like doing some stuff in the One Piece world. That would be cool to see. Z could definitely be, especially since we're doing a lot more stuff with like the Marines and Sword right now. Absolutely. And then the Lily Carnation could be an entire story arc built around that thing. Where is Bullet? Bullet is in Perfectly Bland, where he belongs. Wipe a single tear for Douglas Bullet. Yep. That's a miss, not naming him Toot Musica. Yes, indeed. But anyway, let's go through some super chats here, because I haven't done any of those. So we can do that. I'll move that over here. Ah. There we go. All right. Let's go over to the fan funding page. All right, we got some super chats here. Let's see what we got. Let me go to the top, actually. All right, here we go. Not counting Burndy World. That was from an OVA. That was from 3D2Y, which Burndy World's an interesting character. We could definitely do another one of these for OVA characters, movie tie-ins, filler characters, that kind of stuff. Bear King, when he sees Kaido, he's like, oh, shit. I'm like, yep, that's right. They're going to get sued for sure. Is Top Man a swordsman? Zoro's true final opponent. I guess he uses swords as his tusks. I guess he would be a swordsman, yeah. Answered that one already earlier in the stream. I don't like to think there's a connection that way. I like to think that Kuma just sensed, like, my daughter is in danger. I need to, like, the fatherly instinct is so powerful that he goes to save her, even in a situation where he's a machine. That's the thing I think is the most powerful. How many One Piece villains tried to marry Nami and completely failed? At least two. At least two. We had Bear King, and then we had Absalom. Both got their shit pounded in pretty heavily. I don't know if there was anybody else that wanted to like went to the point of like marrying Nami and putting her in a wedding dress, which kind of happens in both of those instances. Does Black Maria have a smile fruit or a real devil fruit? Why does it have a face? Oda actually explained this. It is an ancient zone. It's a real zone. She took drugs much in the same way that Chopper takes a rumble ball to modify his appearance. Black Maria thought that her hybrid form looked weird, so she took some drugs, and that's why it kind of resembles that. It's why the spider has a face, and her body is like a centaur body. It's not like her head is a spider, because that's like the way it acts. Oda actually drew a little sketch on the way it originally looked. But yeah, that was confirmed. But we also got the homoerotic ship. Oh, with Zoro and Sanji? Yeah, that exists. Well, man, people really wanted Burn D World. He will burn D World's time will come. When you're finished with your list, I'd love to know your thoughts on Usopp Nami unlocking Conquerors. There has been a lot of teasing in the story for both of them. People have said that because of the whole, like, Usopp Conquerors during the time of, like, when Big Mom was at Onigashima, and then Nami is, like, Happiness Punch, Conquerors Hockey, maybe. I don't think either of them are going to get Conquerors. Nami's bonus, her power-up is Zeus, and I don't really know if she's even going to get another power-up after that in the story. Usopp's is going to be his observation for sure. But that's the way I look at it. I don't see them getting Conquerors. Are you ever going to continue One Piece technology series with Vegapunk and Queen's Tech? Yeah, maybe after Egghead, I'll look through the whole thing of all the inventions that Vegapunk used. I'll make a whole video just about Vegapunk's creations. I think that's a pretty solid video idea. I should probably write that down. I need to write down video ideas more. I keep forgetting the ideas. All Vegapunk's inventions. Yes. Yes! Alright. Why is Hatsuri with him? That's the pigeon with Toma. Who would get your vote for most objectively evil movie villain? Probably Butler or Ratchet, I'd say. Those are pretty evil. Or Top Musica as an actual demon or devil. What OP villain would you work for if you had to? Ooh, that's a good question. If I had to work for one of them, I'm going through all of them. I'm going through the movie villains right now because we just talked about those. I guess I would probably work for, like, Zephyr, I guess. Because Zephyr's thing is, like, or I guess Guild to Zoro. But Guild to Zoro was, like, in the slave... Well, no, I guess he wasn't in the slavery market, although he did work with Doflamingo, and his backstory involved slavery. So if he was involved with that, I mean, I wonder how he felt about Doflamingo, because Doflamingo did the slave thing. But anyway... Probably Zephyr. He'd probably be the one that you'd want to work under because he's a former Marine, but like the whole reason he left was because he thought the Marines were corrupted with the warlord system and everything. So he would probably at least treat his men pretty well. So I guess I go with Zephyr in the movies. Do you think the Beast Pirates like Ulti or Queen will cameo in the next movie? They might cameo in a movie, sure. They might actually show up in Yamato's cover page. Like, Ulti and Page 1 might show up at some point. Like, what happened to the remainders of the pirates? I guess they ended up in the prison in Udon along with King and Queen. But, you know, maybe they might show up at some point, yeah. Where is Mad Treasure? Also an OVA. That is Heart of Gold, which was a exceptionally rather long OVA, but I think it was around the same length as 3D2Y. So, yeah, that'll be in another video. 12 is because the number is a pun on Moto Moto. Okay, I thought it was probably some kind of pun reason for that. Uta's faces in Top Musica AMV are so amazing. Really good, really good. And then Otto, I believe, is the original singer for Uta. And she did an amazing job with that song as well. They both did. Which is better, One Piece movie or games villains? I haven't played enough games to really tell you, so I wouldn't really be able to answer that question because I'd have to play more One Piece games. So gods exist now, so maybe Nika and all that. You could have like Top Musica as a demon. Maybe. I really wouldn't like it, though. Do you think Nika's weapons are at Alabasta? Maybe. Like the shield and the spear. Maybe like the heaven spear, the sun spear. Sun spear from Game of Thrones. Yeah, maybe. They could definitely be there. And there's an ancient, like the Gungear, which is the giant spear, which is a technique that Hiruden used, but it's also like Odin's spear. Maybe that's it. Yeah, there. We don't know. Hope you touch on the OVAs. Mad Treasure has a good design. He does, and he also has a really good Devil Fruit, which is the Chain Fruit, which is a really cool ability. I'm actually surprised didn't make it. He would definitely be, should be canon. So, yeah, we might include those. I might just use this as the same, maybe I might use this as, like, the same tier list for the other characters. I might make a new one. I don't know. This one's probably just movie villains, but yeah. Anyway, that was the video. Thank you for watching. I gotta get going because I gotta get back to my friends and figure out what they want for tonight. And I gotta cook dinner and all that. So yeah, pretty good. I knew it wasn't gonna take 3 hours. That took about 2.5, 2:20. That's about right. But thanks everybody for coming in, and thanks to everybody that super chatted and participating. The next tier list video I have is best island to live in One Piece. So I hope you guys like the tier list videos. I mean, they're fun for me. They're a little longer, but they're definitely fun to talk about and get to discuss a wide variety of topics in One Piece. And so, yeah, next is best island to live on in One Piece. So think about that, and then we'll move into that one. And always thinking about new tier list ideas, absolutely. But anyway, have a good night, everybody. This will be Teching, Barry, signing out. Later, everyone.